Doom in glorious high definition. That was the promise when classic Doom arrived on Xbox 360 back in 2006. It's easy to look back and see some of the issues with this version of classic Doom, yet for many this was their first full introduction to the world of Doom. And what an introduction it was. Full HD graphics, online multiplayer, and the chance to experience the entirety of Doom 1 and Doom 2. It's no wonder that these versions of classic Doom garner so much support and nostalgia. And with the Xbox 360 marketplace officially closing down in the next few weeks, I figured it would be a good time to look back and just take a look at these digital versions of Doom 1 and Doom 2. If there's any quirks that you want to talk about, let me know in the comments, I'd love to read them. But for now, let's dive into some glorious high definition console Doom.
There are 3 ways to officially experience classic Doom on Xbox 360.
Interestingly, there are 3 different ways that classic Doom can be experienced officially on the Xbox 360. If you own Doom 3 Collector's Edition or Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil on original Xbox, you can actually place these into your Xbox 360 and play classic Doom through the extras menu there. The games are fully compatible and work perfectly on Xbox 360. You don't get the full HD experience as these only go up to 480p, but for early adopters of Xbox 360, this was a dirty and easy way to get your classic Doom fix on Microsoft's console. The second way is through the Xbox Live Arcade versions of Doom 1 and Doom 2, released in 2006 and 2010. These were the main way one would experience Doom on these consoles for most of the lifespan. Interestingly, both of these editions are backwards compatible with Xbox One and Series X, meaning if you do have these in your download history, you can play these on modern hardware. The final way is through Doom 3 BFG Edition, released in 2012. This came bundled with both Doom 1 and Doom 2. There are a number of small differences between this and the Xbox Live Arcade versions that we discussed previously, but they are a perfectly legitimate way of experiencing classic Doom on Xbox 360, should you choose to go this way. Interestingly, this is probably the easiest way to do this in the modern times, because
the Xbox Live Arcade versions have long since been pulled.
Unfortunately, you can no longer purchase the Xbox Live Arcade versions of Doom 1 and Doom 2. In truth, getting your hands on these was a lot more awkward than probably intended. Originally, Ultimate Doom on Xbox 360 was published by Activision. However, in 2009, when ZeniMax Media bought out id Software, it led to an awkward situation where the rights for publishing classic Doom were put in transition. This led to Ultimate Doom being pulled from sale for an extended period of time. It did return in 2012 with all of the Activision logos removed. These versions of classic Doom would remain on sale until 2019, when they were pulled from all the digital storefronts after the modern Doom ports were released onto modern consoles. Because Doom 1 and Doom 2 were never physically released onto the Xbox 360 as individual games, it means these versions of Doom are now inaccessible unless you were lucky enough to have purchased it way back in the day. It's a real shame from a preservation standpoint, but ultimately the modern console ports I feel are better experiences overall.
Only console release with built-in online modes.
One of the major upsides to owning those digital copies of classic Doom was the ability to easily play online with other Xbox 360 players. That's right, Xbox 360 Doom was the only place where online multiplayer was baked in for console players. This wasn't included in the BFG edition of these games, nor was it a part of the modern Doom releases. Quite shocking in my opinion. You could play deathmatch, cooperative, and you could take yourself out to play the whole of these games. It was really fun to get a lobby of friends together and just have a good night playing classic Doom. It's a feature I really wish was in the modern console ports, I'm not gonna lie.
The first high-definition console port of Doom.
One of the major selling points for Xbox 360 was its ability to natively play HD games. Not wanting to miss out on the party, the Xbox Live Arcade versions of Doom 1 and Doom 2 heavily promoted their ability to be experienced in HD. This was kind of a big deal because up to this point, the performance and visual appearance of Doom on the various console ports was very hit and miss. At best, the original Xbox only allowed up to 480p, and while it looked nice, it has to be said that playing the Xbox 360 versions of these games really helps Doom to break out into this generation. This version of Doom looks glorious and it plays beautifully with very few performance stutters throughout. We've definitely come a long way from the 3DO days.
The first official new content for classic Doom in over a decade.
When Doom 2 arrived on Xbox Live Marketplace in 2010, it came bundled with the first official new classic Doom content in over a decade. Not since 1996's Final Doom had new commercial content been created and released for classic Doom. No Rest for the Living is a 9-level expansion episode created by the fine folks over at Nerve Software. It came bundled with Doom 2 and brings a high level of competent level design as well as visual flair. I would strongly argue that these are some of the best retail Doom levels that you can experience, and if you haven't got around to playing them, I genuinely would say to do that, as they have featured in pretty much all of the re-releases since this game.
The medkits changed in this generation.
One thing which is pretty infamous about this generation of classic Doom is the disappearance of the iconic Red Cross medkits. Due to international law and changing attitudes towards the use of that symbol, the decision was made to change that red cross to a slightly larger red pill on medkits and stim packs. When I tell you these pills annoyed Doom fans, I'm not joking. They kinda look out of place in my opinion, and by the time BFG edition rolled around in 2012, the pills had made their way into Ultimate Doom as well. Interestingly, when I went back to capture footage for this video, my version of Ultimate Doom had the red crosses on the medkits and the stim packs, yet when I went back and looked at my older footage of the Xbox Live Arcade version of this game, there are the pills. I have no idea if this is an issue or a glitch, but it's pretty hilarious to me that you can end up with either one.
Leaderboards.
An interesting tidbit about Xbox 360 Doom is that it featured something that hasn't appeared in any version of Doom since, which is a true shame as it's a feature I genuinely took great enjoyment in. That of course is leaderboards. Basically, as you played through Doom and Doom 2, you'd be graded and given a score in the leaderboard based on how many kills you got, items you picked up, secrets you found, and the time taken to finish the level. What was cool as well is that it didn't just create an overall leaderboard, each level had its own leaderboard in which you could fight your way up the rankings to see how far you could get, and you could even look at the overall leaderboard to see where you needed to be to get to the top. It might not sound like a lot, but it created a huge incentive to go back and replay each of the levels, mastering on higher difficulties and getting a higher score to push you further up the leaderboard. It created a great sense of community and really made this version of Doom feel like a more communal event than previous console versions. I would love to see this make a return in the modern Doom ports, but unfortunately I don't think that's on the cards. A real shame.
Final Doom never released officially on Xbox 360.
Not a huge point, but worth noting is that Final Doom never officially released onto the Xbox 360, despite showing up on the PlayStation 3 store back in the day. It's an odd situation because for the longest time in this generation, the only place you could play classic Doom was on Xbox 360. PlayStation 3 gamers were pretty much left out in the cold, unless you played PS1 Doom on your PS3. Yet by the end of this console generation, the only place you could complete the whole of classic Doom in one console sitting was on PS3. It also creates a situation where technically Final Doom was console exclusive to PlayStation consoles until it was made available as an add-on in the modern Doom ports.
Some of the sounds in these versions are way off.
One of the bigger negatives about this version of classic Doom comes down to the sound design. There are some notable sound issues and differences with the way that sound is used in these games. You'll notice it as you're making your way through the games, but things sound slowed down and a bit weird at times, including enemies and weapon noises. And no, I'm not talking about the pitch shifting. The reason for this is that these versions of Doom play back sounds at half sample rate. This means that weapons like the super shotgun sound notably different and a lot less satisfying to use in this version of Doom. Whether this was done as a creative choice or as an intentional way to differentiate this version of Doom, it does leave this as one of the more divisive issues in this version of Doom. And that's it for this initial list of Xbox 360 Doom quirks. Let me know if I missed any big ones that you want me to talk about in future videos. I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.